Hey everybody, we are live with Money Chronicles at Wealth Management Edge 2025. I'm Johnny Sandquist.
I'm Torie Happe.
We are super excited to have Era Jain, CEO, co-founder, Zeplyn.
Nice to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so Era, let's get right into it. Let's dig into your backstory. What attracted you to this industry? Like, how'd you get your start in fintech, and why are you here?
Great question. Prior to founding Zeplyn, I spent about a decade at Google. I was building AI for Google Search, voice assistant. I don't know if you ever used that Google Home device.
Every day.
Yeah.
I was on the founding engineering team for that. And so I was always passionate about leveraging AI on unstructured data such as human conversations, documents, emails, and putting it to some use. So I left in 2021 to found my own company. I come from a family of entrepreneurs, and so I knew this is something that I wanted to do one day. I was at HBS for a couple of years, surrounded by students who had spent a lot of time in financial services. So as I was doing my research, trying to learn a little bit more about this industry and different use cases, I was actually introduced to a couple of wealth managers at one of the very big brokerage firms out there. And, this was right after COVID, and I was telling them, you could use AI in your client conversations that are happening in Zoom to just, extract more insights and structured data from it using AI. And they were like, is that even possible? Because I'm spending hours doing this follow-up work after meeting with clients, and I don't even know if that's possible. Like, this is a very manual process for me. And what we found was a very big gap in the industry, right? We found that advisors were spending 2 to 3 hours in prep and follow-up work for these meetings. The entire documentation process was broken because it was so manual. And in this industry, most of the data gathering happens in conversations, in meetings. 60% of important insights are collected in conversations,
right.
But because it's such a manual process, less than 25% of these conversations are making it into the system. And so that was very attractive to us because we thought that, hey, there is a pain point here, a gap that we can solve for. Everybody needs more advisors, good advice. So if we can give advisors some time back, they can get more time to serve more clients. And so that's how it all got started. And that was just the beginning of it. And now we are like wealth management veterans. So we've been in the industry. It feels like we've been in here so long. But yeah, so that's kind of the starting.
I think we met last year, but I feel like you've been part of this thing for a long time. You're just kind of entrenched here. So I'm curious, you mentioned a family of entrepreneurship. Mm-hmm. So tell us about that. Was it your parents, your grandparents? It's in your blood. So tell us more.
Yeah, so my uncle, he has a business. It's more like an SMB business back in India. It's more in manufacturing. And then my sister, my elder sister, she's 4 years older to me. She ran a cancer care platform in India for a very long time, and now she is building an AI company in healthcare. It's an AI SaaS startup. My brother-in-law, he has built multiple startups and sold them. Again, software industry, and now he's running his own venture capital firm. So, that has been very inspirational for me.
Family dinners must be really interesting at your house. I would love to.
My family is not nearly we don't have this much to talk about.
I do think it's really interesting too that you brought up, bringing the AI space into the wealth management world. I think a lot of us are very used to having that Google Assist in our everyday world. It's very second nature to us, but bringing the AI space into the wealth management world, everyone's kind of pushing back on it. No, you can't do that. You're taking the hands-off approach, you're not making it user-friendly, all of that kind of stuff. But I find it really interesting that we are so adaptable and fine with having AI in our everyday life, but we're so against bringing it into our work life. And I don't understand why there's so much friction there.
Yeah, are you seeing that with firms, or do you handle that kind of objection from people you interact with?
So absolutely, right? It's like B2C, B2B sales, right? Selling to consumers is always easy, but obviously scaling this, it is always hard because consumer behavior is so flaky. Yeah. Selling into businesses, obviously there is friction because there are multiple layers, right? If an advisor tomorrow comes to us and they're like, hey, I want to use your technology, they alone cannot make that decision because it has to involve decision makers at different levels. So the pushback definitely that we got early on, and this was really early in our journey when people were still learning about the different AI use cases in wealth management, were around security and compliance, right? Okay, what is this AI going to do with all the data? This is sensitive client data, and are these meeting recordings going to be stored somewhere? It becomes a liability. So we had to build Zeplyn in a way that really works for the industry. It's compliant, it's secured, doesn't use any data, client data, train any AI models, and that gives a lot of comfort to not just advisors, but like business leaders and clients, more importantly. So it has gotten a lot better. Actually, it's moving at a very good speed. If you compare it to last year, it's like AI everywhere, and more people want to bring it in their practice. It should also integrate really well in their existing workflows, and that's another point of friction, but we're getting there.
The most fun question we always ask is, what is the biggest money mistake you have made, and what did you learn from it?
So many. So, okay, I've never told this to anyone, so that you guys are probably after my husband first one.
Secrets are unveiled.
I started investing really late in my life, actually right at the time that the COVID crash happened. So basically I worked for Google, and I had a lot of savings in the Google equity form, right? And I was like, this is cool, right? This company is doing well. It's gonna no sense of diversification at that point. I didn't care. I was very young, and then obviously, right, the market crashed at during COVID, and that was actually a good opportunity. So I opened my brokerage account, bought a bunch of S&P, and since then I've been very, very cautious about investing continuously in the market, diversifying out of just being invested in one company and in other places. Absolutely. But I wish I had started a bit sooner. Maybe it's the day I got my very first paycheck.
Hey, but Google said, you didn't do too bad. Reliable.
Absolutely. Yeah. Okay, so we are at Edge. The theme this week is all about finding your edge. So kind of our last question, theme for you, what gives you your edge?
So I think it's who I am, right? I'm the kind of person, so I'm like a builder at heart, right? I've been a software engineer for so many years, like the first half of my professional life. And I just love building things ground up, and it gives me a lot of joy when something I've built is actually creating value for whoever is using it. So I think just that passion that I have, towards building products, I've brought that passion building Zeplyn, and building something so unique that didn't exist in this industry for a very long time. That I think is very powerful, and that's my edge, right? I've done this for a very long time in a very different setting, and I'm now bringing that into an industry that is so different, and hope to make a big difference here.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Amazing. Era, thanks for joining us. We appreciate you.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.